an Islamist rally in Hamburg, Germany, where demonstrators advocated for the establishment of the caliphate and the implementation of Sharia law. This event sparked condemnation from politicians. I'm here with Ralf Scholz, visiting fellow with the MCC and columnist for Brussels Signal.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for having me, Rebecca. Looking forward to talking to you.
So could you describe this Islamist rally in Hamburg, and what have been the reaction of the German politicians, but also what have been the reactions of the people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely correct to call it an Islamist rally because the main demand that was issued there was the establishment of a caliphate. And I think that's pretty much as Islamic as it gets. There has been some backtracking, and the organizers said, well, it was a misunderstanding. We didn't mean a caliphate in Germany. We meant a caliphate in the Muslim world. I mean, I'm surprised that all the signs they had were in German because as far as I know, most people in the Arab and Muslim world don't speak German. So I think this is a little bit of an attempt to backtrack what happened. But it was definitely another sign that, particularly in Germany, but I think all over Europe, the Islamist threat has been underestimated. And what makes the story particularly interesting is, if you take a closer look, some of the organizations that sympathize with the organizers of that rally are funded by the German government in the name of fighting Islamophobia. And this is, I think, going to be a trend we see all over Europe, that as long as an organization says they're against racism, against the far right, they can pretty much do everything because nobody takes a second look at them. And the facade of this, or kind of the mask, is gradually slipping that yes, within Europe there are organizations of a Muslim bent that want to change the system, that are hostile to democracy, whether it's a liberal democracy or any other kind of democracy, and they want to establish something that is more akin to a theocratic system.
And could you elaborate on the significance of, for example, Chancellor Olaf Scholz's statement regarding the need for consequence, and as well Minister Nancy Faeser vowing to take action against Islamic propaganda and hatred against Jews, and if you want a caliphate, you've come to the wrong place in Germany. What is the significance of these statements?
Well, I think the main significance of those statements is that they will have no consequences. If you think about 9/11, 2001, right? For many of us, this was kind of the first event where it became clear that Islamism is a force to be reckoned with. Since this happened, Muslim migration to Europe, but also to the United States, in many cases has doubled. So this is what we see now for over 20 years, that there's always this talk about we have to do something about this, and those who don't integrate into Western values, they shall leave, they cannot stay here. But this is not how it works. Nothing has been done in the past. And many of the people that participated in these rallies have a German passport. So it's not as easy as Mr. Scholz or the Minister of the Interior, Nancy Faeser, is thinking. Like, it sounds good to say we will introduce consequences for that kind of behavior. But this is very difficult. They have been too liberal in handing out German passports over the last couple of years, that now you have people who don't identify with Germany, who don't identify with German values, but they're German citizens. So this idea that you can just get rid of them is basically impossible. So this is all talk but no action.
And how do you anticipate the public and political discourse evolving following this rally and subsequent statements from public officials?
Well, the public is outraged for good reason, because again, if we look at polls that go back 10, 15 years, the public has been saying for a long time, again, not just in Germany, but all over Europe, that there is not a suspicion, but there is an unease when it comes to mass immigration from countries with Muslim backgrounds. And the people have been saying for a long time that they don't want this, but the political class has been ignoring them. In many cases, they have been pushing for more of this. And these are the consequences. So, and the reaction is once again the same that you would expect. Instead of saying we have an Islamist problem, the argument is this is a problem because it could vindicate the things that the right-wing parties have been saying for 30 years. But the simple fact is that the right-wing parties were right and everybody was wrong.
Thank you very much, Ralf Scholz, visiting fellow with the MCC and columnist for Brussels Signal.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching Riks Europe.